Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining me. So I'm first of all fucking sorry for the delay. I know it's been over a month now since I last uploaded a video. All I can say is I'm really fucking happy that I've managed to squeeze one in now. Trust me, it hasn't been easy. So anyway, what we're doing here today is, first of all, I'm gonna say hi to all the new subscribers because I did fairly recently break 500, so I'm around 518 or something now. So for the 50 odd of you that have arrived since my last video, thank you very much for joining us. I hope that the content that I've provided before is something that you'll be willing to go and check out. There's a lot of very relevant information in every single one of those videos. I believe so myself anyway. But for today, we are going to be focusing on dreams, and my main thought about this is the dream is going on in Michael's head. Now, admittedly, I can't quite work out whether the whole storyline is a dream or just certain portions of this storyline is a dream. What I do believe is that we can wake from this dream, and that in some sense may be the objective to our mystery. Now, in order to understand this correctly, we're going to take a look at our old friend Sigmund Freud. So here again, old images for the people that have been with me for a while, I'm sure you recognise, but just as a quick recap, founder of psychoanalysis, so one of the biggest names in psychology ever. We've spoken a lot about the id, ego and superego, and the whole trio theory going on there with Michael, Franklin and Trevor. And as you'll see on the screen now, he basically sees the mind as it's represented here, so id, ego, superego, but that's split between the conscious mind, the preconscious mind and the completely unconscious mind. And as you can see, the unconscious mind is what occupies the main portion of our brain. Therefore, dreams are an extremely important part of the human psyche. But just as a quick recap, I wanted to show Capolavoro because, as you all know, this is the first time we came across Freud in GTA 5, and this movie holds very interesting clues towards what we've been looking into. I mean, this guy Antonio, who's currently going through a black and white dream, has a lot of similarities to Michael and Michael's story. I just wanted to point out that people who dream in black and white, according to science, would have grown up on black and white television. It's important to point out as well that people who grew up on colour television would dream in colour. So there's something about childhood, there's a certain period there where the brain can be influenced to either make you dream in black and white or make you dream in colour. We also found Freud in Dr. Isaiah Friedlander's psychoanalysis that we get at the end of the game. It also speaks of Carl Jung, another psychoanalyst. Now, we also have a reference to Freud on the stress ball here. So, in order to understand Freud, we need to understand that his work was, for the most part, based on the study of dreams. That's how he got to know about the human brain, the mind, the way we think. So if we take this as an example, if every night you dream of being chased down by a cougar and mauled to death, just as an example, you could be safe to assume that maybe your overpowering girlfriend who's trying to push you into making decisions you don't feel ready to make right now, that could be the representation of the cougar. That could be, for example, your overpowering girlfriend. Now, this allows us to understand that if the storyline is in fact a dream, in that case there might be a way to see a second meaning behind this story in general. Now, I'm going to get back to that towards the end of the video because it's a bit of a complicated thing to understand, so we're going to build up to it. But importantly, I want to mention as well that dreams are gender specific. Now, if you're a male, you're going to dream of cars, guns and violence. Now, science says that this is most likely due to a little thing called testosterone. Now, I don't know if testosterone rings any bells for you guys right now, but for me it immediately made me think about Brucey. Now, Brucey is still available in GTA 5 Online. I believe we can still get the testosterone off him, and it is called Bullshark testosterone. Now, as a quick recap again, Brucey is a dude who initially came along in GTA 4. He was quite an important character, so it's not nobody in the series of GTA 5. He is fucking annoying, I'll give you that. I never really got on well with Bruce. He used to drive me insane in the game, but yeah, he was important enough for them to include him in GTA 5. Now, I did a very small amount of research into bull sharks because I thought shark cards, etc. But as you can see on the screen right now, what we have is, in the bull shark Wikipedia page, you can see here, second line, it's a requiem shark. Now, requiem means mass of in Latin, but requiem comes from the word requiesce, which is rest or sleep. So we have a connection to sleep right there. Now, the reason I'm telling you this now is to make a quick stop on a movie, and we're not going to be going into too much detail. That movie is Requiem for a Dream. Now, as soon as I saw Requiem Shark, this is the first thing that jumped to mind. It's a fucking classic. It's an awesome movie, and if you haven't seen it, I really encourage you to do so. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because of mainly Marlon Wayans. Now, he is one of the guys who made Scary Movie, which was the whole theme of my previous video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, When Rockstar Leaves Its Mark. Now, I bring this to you today not only because of the blue eye, not only because of the Marlon Wayans connection, but I also believe that that red-haired woman there, that old woman in this movie, she is addicted to certain drugs, and I have to do my research, and that's why we're not going into detail with this film today, but I believe there could be a very strong connection between this woman and Trevor's mum and the final mission in the game when she asks him to go get the pills van, and the pills that are in that van, I believe, may be the connection. Right, so the next step in our understanding is musical dreams, and musical dreams are something that has been researched scientifically quite a bit as well. And it basically describes, firstly, that people who practice music dream music a lot more than people who don't. Now, along with that, we have the fact that musical dreams also relates back to artists claiming to have dreamt their work, so either the lyrics or the tune or both of them. And I bring you the Beatles today because amongst the most well-known artists in the world, Paul McCartney and John Lennon both claim to have written a song that they had dreamt of. Now, if I'm not mistaken, John Lennon claimed to have dreamt a song called Number 9 Dream, and that was in 1974, and the year is kind of important, I believe. Paul McCartney dreamt the song Yesterday. So there's many other artists who claim to have done this, but this is going to be very important for our grand finale. But we're going to move on to a little bit more understanding just on the fundamentals of dreams, and that is lucid dreams, i.e. a dream that you are aware of, and because you are aware of it, you have potential to be able to control that dream. And it's fair to say, research has proven that people who play large amounts of video games have a much stronger chance to be able to control their dreams than someone who doesn't play video games. Now, if we follow back to Freud's ideas of dreams, which is that they are basically the foundation of who we are, and they hold the answers to all of our troubles and strives and questions in life. So in that mindset, it kind of fitted well with the theory of, if this game is a dream, we are indeed in control of it. So your next question might be, why Michael? To be honest with you, I think Michael, because Michael is the character out of the three who has the most strange and abnormal shit happen to him. Admittedly, Trevor's batshit crazy and some mad crap is going on, but Michael really has some very fucking strange experiences. Now, I want you to pay attention to the way this is happening here with Jimmy. This is the mission where Jimmy decides to drug his dad and take the car and just basically fuck off. Now, if you can see, it's all blurry, everything's going a bit smeared, there's pink, green sort of shading going on, blue as well. Now Michael's out, he's being dragged out of the road, and he's going to wake up right about now with that weird eye thing going on the screen, and there's some monkeys and shit and all sorts of stuff that just doesn't happen in day-to-day life. Now I wanted you to pay attention to that particular ripple of the screen as well, because we're going to come back to that in a different situation in just a minute. But my point here mainly with Michael is he's having experiences that just don't fit in compared to the other characters. Another point I have to make, if we're controlling a dream, let's just think for a second, what's the symbol, or one symbol for dreaming being in the clouds, right? Clouds is a symbol for dreams, if I'm not mistaken. When we switch from Michael to Franklin to Trevor to our online character, where does the game take us? Bird's eye view, right up into the clouds, back down straight into the head of the character. So in that sense as well, it made me think that maybe that was why the whole game could possibly be a dream, and not just these random portions of the game, like you can see right now where Michael meets the aliens and all this crazy shit going on. At the end of the day, I thought I can't exclude the possibility of the whole main storyline after the prologue being a dream, in the sense that it takes us up into the clouds, we do things that are just a bit dreamlike, and there's a lot of dream references in this game. And as I said, the last one is going to be the main event, and it's going to be musical, related to music. So for now, again, just take a look at the screen and the colours and how it's all wavy. And now take a look at Michael, he's about to take a peyote plant. Same shit, proper wavy, blacks out, he's gone. Yes, it's a hallucination from peyote, but he could be blacked out, so in a sense you can call it a dream as well. Now, I don't know if many of you have watched Game of Thrones before, but there's a young lad in Game of Thrones, when he blacks out, his eyes roll into the back of his head and he can take control of certain animals, most animals actually. I believe his name is Bran, so they didn't just make that up for Game of Thrones, that's something that's been taken out of Indian folklore. I believe it's the Apaches who used to believe that in your dreams, a shaman's dreams, in his sleep he could take over the body of his spirit animal, for example, and such things. So I thought it was important to reference that as well, because I don't know, anything that's going to be to do with dreams, I wanted to kind of bring up the main things in this video here today. These are all just little bits of information to help you understand what's to come. Okay folks, so now for our grand finale on this video, we're going to be taking a look at some music. And this music is going to allow us to really tie the knot on the dream theory, I believe. The song in question is going to relate right back to the Santa Code, so hence the picture on the screen right now. We're going to see how Da Vinci's work ties into this particular song. The song we're going to be looking at today, because it's not going to be the only song I want to address, but for today we're going to keep with this one, and it is Sleepwalking by Chain Gang of 1974. Now, I said earlier that the Beatles song that was claimed to have been dreamt yesterday, or the other one, I can't remember now, was made in 1974. It's a year that I've brought up a few times in videos for many different reasons, but anyway, let's just jump into this song that Wispy's featured before, and we're going to see bit by bit what it means. Right, so this is the Mona Lisa. If I'm not mistaken, it must be the most famous painting that Leonardo da Vinci ever made. It's world renowned. I don't think there's a person on earth who wouldn't recognize this as the Mona Lisa painting. And essentially, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you all do, but the reason this painting is so famous, or at least one of the main reasons, is that no matter where you are in the room, her eyes are always fixated on you, and people caught onto that, and that helped a lot towards its fame. Now, I believe that when they say destiny turned her face, I believe they're referring to this painting. Now we're going to jump in a little bit further into some more lyrics, and again, bit by bit, we're going to fit it together with more of Leonardo's paintings. Okay, so violent shapes. Artistically speaking, a violent shape is a triangle, and it's a violent shape in the sense that it's surrounded with sharp edges, it's abrupt. For example, a non-violent shape would be a circle. It represents more of a smooth, full circle kind of idea. If you think about it artistically, it's kind of hard for me to explain, but essentially a violent shape can be considered a triangle. Now, as we learned in the De Santa Code and from the Da Vinci Code, the upside down V is the sacred masculine, representing the blade or the penis, and the sacred feminine is the upside V, representing the grail or the vagina. So basically, we're going to come back to this in a second in some lyrics that are coming up, but we're going to focus now on the fingertips, seeing as it's such a relevant topic at the moment. I want to give my perspective on a duality of these lyrics regarding Da Vinci once again. Okay, so now I need you to look at the images that are on the screen. I've surrounded the fingertips. These are all Da Vinci paintings. Now the reason, or more like the way I interpret those lyrics, is that truth lies through fingertips, and I'm going to demonstrate this through a theory that's actually quite old and I didn't make it up. So these are just some of his paintings that I selected because there's so many of them, and this one in particular, The Last Supper, is literally littered with fingertips. They're all in place specifically to be seen. Almost every hand in this group is visible, and every finger is placed differently, pointing in all sorts of directions, and as I just shown, it's a very common thing amongst his pictures. And we're going to get to the theory, but just for a second, as I said, we were going to get back to the lyrics of the sacred feminine or violent shapes. Just listen to this 1 second and we'll get back to that on The Last Supper as well. So I've mentioned this before in the De Santa Code, but my point was when they mentioned forbidden love, based on the Da Vinci Code's version or theory or whatever it is from Dan Brown, I believe this is pretty much a representation of this being Mary Magdalene and Jesus being in a relationship with this woman, and it's forbidden by the church, so they hid it, and it's the biggest lie that ever was in regards to what the Da Vinci Code says. So without getting it too complex, as you can see, it's a chalice shape like a V, and this is very uncommon for the era. In that sort of painting, people are usually towards each other, rarely so broken apart. It kind of points your eye towards that shape in the middle. And while we're on the subject of V's, and it is GTA 5 Roman numerals V, so that holds some relevancy at least. But anyway, before we get back to the fingertip theory based upon Da Vinci's paintings, we're gonna quickly take a look at how this song made me think of Jesus as well. I don't mean that in a quirky religious way, trust me. It sounds all wrong, but that's the only way it can be said. Yeah, there's another part of this song that made me think of Jesus immediately, so I'm gonna play that short part of lyric 1 quick second. We're gonna take a look at what it made me think of. So it made me think of the resurrection of Christ, and seeing as Da Vinci painted the Last Supper, it seemed fitting to mention this as well. Now next up I'm going to show you a very short clip of that song, and I want you to notice the colours. In the beginning of this video I showed you Michael hallucinating. Look at the similarity in the colours of this clip. I personally believe this is very similar to the colour and flickering that happens when Michael dreams or passes out. But anyway, this is an extract of a documentary on the History Channel, and this dude, this researcher, is pointing out the Mona Lisa's fingers, and he's going to mirror image Da Vinci's paintings based upon where the dramatic hand is placed in the scene, and based upon that mirror image is going to reveal other images that I find very interesting. So the Mona Lisa here, if I just show this snapshot, unfortunately I didn't take clips because of copyright bullshit, but as you can see here, it kind of revealed a demon head, or kind of like a knight in a helmet or some shit, and that's just one example of what can be done on every single one of his paintings. But this documentary was describing this theory. So here I believe this is the Madonna of the Rocks, and again you're going to see, well, you can see now that her hand is quite obviously placed out towards the front of the painting, and they're going to mirror the image based on the positioning of that hand once again, and you'll see here that it makes what looks like an alien head. Now note that we can do this with the physical GTA map. If you mirror it right down the middle, it does create some sort of weird alien head. And there's something I want to show you guys real quick, and it's just a clip of this particular painting, and you're going to see that it's going to be mirrored, and I just want you to watch it and pay attention to what you see. And I'm going to show you some clips from my good friend Jack Treehorn's channel, so we can compare this to some stuff we have in GTA. So pay attention and I'll join you in a second. So these images are pretty fucking distinctive. Now, something that me, Music Video, Jack Treehorn, we've all shown and featured in our channels before, is certain textures in the game that just don't seem right. Now they are often parallel, and we're going to take a look at Jack Treehorn's video, who shows these quite well through Photoshop. And this first one we're going to look at is on the Mount Chiliad cable car cabin right at the top of the mountain where the cable car parks up, and this is on the roof. Now just take a look at what he's done here on Photoshop. He's highlighted the point where the two textures join in the middle, and this is all very symmetrical, and it kind of looks like totems. And as you can see, he's pointing out smaller images like masks. To some people they may look like animals. It's very symmetrical, odd and weirdly detailed, but sometimes amongst these smaller images, if you take a bigger look back, you can see much larger images that are much easier to pick out. But just showing you this now, I'm going to jump back to what we just saw in the Da Vinci shit and make it a little bit easier for you to compare. So now look at these images. Very similar, very symmetrical. They look like totems, and the closer you look, the more images you can depict amongst them. So again, I said this is possible to do this based upon every Da Vinci painting that I featured throughout this video. And there's a lot of people who've been doing it, so you can check it out on YouTube if you're interested. There's loads to see, and the images are very, very fucking interesting. So here we have the Death's Head hawk moth. The first time me and Jack mentioned this moth was through the Rockstar Decay wallpaper, and it was clearly featured right in the middle. I mean, it's featured in the movie Silence of the Lambs, and all sorts of other movies has had this moth in it, so it's very interesting to me to see how that particular moth reoccurs throughout so many movies that I've paid interest to, the GTA wallpapers, etc. But again, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to show you a little screenshot real quick, and as you can see, it's clearly the moth. But anyway, that's going to be the main part of this video. There's so many other things that I have to add to this, different songs, all sorts of different paths it's taken me down, and I promise you I will keep you up to date with some sequel videos to this one. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you do, be sure to drop a like, I'll appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe. You know, I've got 500 or so of you, but we could always do with some more. But as a little teaser, I'm going to show you another clip of the song that we've been studying, and just pay close attention to the background. I'm not going to say anything, I'm going to address it in my next video. I just want you guys to see what I saw in this video clip of it. So the moral of the story is, in the great words of Shia LaBeouf himself, don't let your dreams be dreams. Let's try and break out of this one if we possibly can. I hope we can find the answers we seek. I hope you're on board with me on this idea, because believe me, there is a lot more to this. It's kind of insane, actually. Without going into too much more detail, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you all enjoyed once again. Until next time, guys, take it easy and see ya.
Oh, I'm living a dream, baby. And that dream is fucked. It is fucking fucked.